Your turn.
All right.
There you go.
Good evening and let me say, Shabbat Shalom. I'm Cheryl Marty, and as a member of the Women of Har Hashem, I'm here to share my thoughts with you this evening and hope they have relevance to the congregation, inclusive of all genders and experiences. I come before you tonight with a little bit of trepidation. You see, I'm new to the tribe. And so I'm here to share with you the Torah portion this evening, which has some importance to me. In this week's Torah portion, Moses and the Israelites have escaped from Egypt and come to Midian, where Yitro, as the religious leader of his people and the father-in-law of Moses, shares his awe of how Moses challenged Pharaoh and helped the Israelites escape from Egypt. This section is important because Yitro advises Moses on how to mediate disputes among the people through a network of trusted Israelite leaders to help Moses reserve his energy for the more important and critical disputes that arise. This forms the basis for early Jewish legal system. This section is important, but I think the more important part is the covenant God makes with the Jews and the 10 mitzvot, or sacred obligations, that form the foundation of how to meet that commitment. This segment of the Torah had fundamental importance to me, had fundamental importance to the Israelites and has great significance for me personally along my journey and study of Judaism. I have had very good teachers along my journey, and I was very fortunate when I first came to Colorado to study under a rabbi in Fort Collins who was a demanding teacher and a scholar, both of which I needed. In his Torah study class, when we came to the study and discussion of the covenant between God and the Jews and the 10 initial mitzvot handed down at Sinai, I became concerned about how all the human challenges we navigate fit with those 10 sacred obligations. And then the rabbi pointed out that there were really 613 mitzvot in the Torah. At that point, I was feeling quite overwhelmed. As I prepared for this and considered this portion, I tried to imagine just what it was like and would have been for those Israelites at that moment, at that time, at the foot of Mount Sinai. The Jews left Israel after living as slaves where everything was dictated to them with few choices to make. They lived through the plagues, followed Moses through a narrow passage in the water with Pharaoh's soldiers behind them, and had traveled 3 months at that point in the desert with no road signs or pathway. They arrive at the foot of a mountain where Adonai makes a covenant with the Jewish people, manifested in thunder and lightning and volcanic fire and screeching winds. And then they receive the 10 mitzvot as a test for the Israelites' commitment to their part of the contract with God. And here I feel overwhelmed once again by the study of these principles to live by from the Torah. In response to my confusion at this point, the rabbi shared a story, as rabbis are wont to do. The story told about Rabbi Hillel the elder, who was the chief spiritual leader of the Jewish people in Jerusalem from 30 BCE to 10 of the Common Era. The story tells of a convert who came to Hillel, the teacher, and challenged the rabbi to tell him the whole Torah while the convert stood on one foot. All I could think of was, that guy really has a lot of chutzpah. Hillel the elder's response was, "That which is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow. That is the whole Torah. The rest is the explanation. Go and learn." This is also known by some as the Golden Rule or the ethic of reciprocity. Ironically, my teacher His first name was Hillel also. And his recounting of this story made so much sense to me and really helped me in my approach to study of the mitzvot, the first 10 and the remaining to the total of 613, and certainly has helped me on my journey as a Jew by choice. We fast forward to the past few years with all the falsehoods, controversy, violence, and bigotry, and then on top of that, the scourge of COVID-19. Last Friday, Rabbi Green challenged us to stand with communities of color to fight racism and support civil rights, not just for MLK Day. And then last Saturday, the Jewish congregation in Colleyville, Texas, was terrorized through Shabbat services by the taking of 4 congregants as hostages for 11 hours. A cowardly, violent, and life-threatening act of anti-Semitism. Last Wednesday night, more than 1,000 politicians, faith community leaders, Jews, and other Coloradans gathered on Zoom to support Congregation Beth Israel and to denounce anti-Semitism and violence in places of worship, which is exactly what Rabbi was talking about here tonight. So, how do we interact with people in everyday life who espouse hurtful and dangerous views? Perhaps in such cases, it's asserting Hillel the Elder's statement to the convert. We know from experience that arguing with someone that my view is better than your view just doesn't work. However, it seems so simple but so powerful to ask a reasonable person, do you want to be treated in a disrespectful, hurtful, or violent manner? If not, then do not treat others as you would not like to be treated yourself. In the real world, we need to voice this question loudly and repeatedly whenever possible. In raising that question, all the other mitzvot delineate the specifics of how to treat each other in an ethic of reciprocity. As the modern Hillel that I studied under paraphrased it, you follow the golden rule, and all other mitzvot is just commentary. In closing, I ask you to do 2 things. First, think about the sacred obligations delineated in the Torah, and to ask yourself, how can I make my voice heard? I thank you for letting me share my journey with you tonight. Shabbat Shalom.